Good morning. So we're back in our sutras. I am in my home in Michigan, soon to not be mine. Packing up 17 years of my life. Parigraha, it's part of it. All right, so let's start in a comfortable cross-legged space and make sure that you're cozy. So wherever you are, just be comfortable. We'll do an opening meditation, just real sweet, and then we'll jump in. So belly's tall, heart's open, eyes sweetly, softly closed. And let's take the palms to the heart space at Namaste this morning. Let's take a nice big inhale through the nose. And exhale out the mouth, just release. And again, inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, just allow a gentle letting go. Take a moment to find that place of quiet. To find that place of gentle peace that sits inside of all of us. To drop in and just feel that blanket of connection to each other, satsanga, to your bigness, your oneness, Ishvara Prani, Nahana, whatever that may be. Just take a moment to sweetly still and to gently listen from the inside out. Holding that connection with you, not only throughout this discussion, but throughout the rest of your day. Let's bring hands maybe even longer. Let's bring hands to Namaste. Good. We'll open asana. We're not doing asana. We'll open sutras. What day is it? What time is it? With an Om. Inhale. Yeah, how many of you feel that way? Like, what day is it? Where am I? Where am I supposed to be? Nowhere. Oh, okay. What day is it? Let's shuffle the deck. Book 2, Sadhana Pada, which again is that portion on practice, and we talked about this last week, but when we speak about practice, this is the whole practice. This is body, mind, and spirit. This is all 8 limbs. This is on the mat as well as off. This is the whole practice, right? So 227, oh, I like this one. This one's a little heady, so strap in. Not too bad, it's not too bad. Tasya saptadha prantabhumihi prajna. So one's wisdom in the final stage is 7-fold. Okay. So we have to go back, and I feel like we talked about these quite a bit, so we won't go back too far. We'll chat a little bit before we go to 26, and then we'll continue in 27. So how do we get to this final stage, right? How do we get to this stage of Samadhi that is 7-fold? And back, right, 25, 26, we talked about that Parusha and the Prakriti and our relationship with the environment that we put ourselves in. how we create that environment and how we see it from our perspective, how we begin to choose correctly, right? So we recognize the things that are not serving us, that are not good for us, and we recognize those things that are. We start to fuel and feed the spirit. Back, we talked about how it's ignorance that leads us to this knowledge, because you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. So this exploration into what else do I need to know. So then 26 says, Vivakakyatihi aviplava hana upayaha. Uninterrupted discriminative discernment is the method for its removal. What are we removing? That ignorance, right? So when we get to that place where we're living in our authentic soul and we're listening to that intuitive space and we're knowing where we need to be and why we need to be there, bhavanam, then there's no need for that ignorance to pop in and say, hey, you should know more, hey. We've just settled into the fact that we know what we're supposed to know. And that when we're ready, when all of our pieces are ready, we're just gonna have the knowledge. It isn't something we have to seek or chase or grab hold of. So uninterrupted discriminative discernment. So if you look up discrimination and you look up discernment in the dictionary, they essentially mean the same thing. So uninterrupted discriminative discernment. To discriminate means to, know the difference between, right? And discernment essentially means the same thing. Here, what they want us to understand is that this means right choice. Not just choosing, not just knowing the difference between, but knowing which one is good for you, which one is soulful, which one is right, and which one may be not necessarily wrong, but hurtful or damaging. That means we still have karma to learn, right? Lessons. So uninterrupted discriminative discernment is the method for its removal. Uninterrupted right choice. That's a big ask, right? Uninterrupted right choice. I think that we can definitely get to that place. And I'm scooting my camera up. I think that is not an impossibility at all. Just like we spoke about Samadhi last week. That first layer is very possible. And so it depends on the situation. It depends on what we're speaking about. But maybe in a moment, in a certain situation, that uninterrupted right choice is absolutely happening. Maybe it happens for an entire day. Maybe it happens for 10 minutes in a day. That's still great. That's enough, right? Okay. Uninterrupted. So obviously, if it only happens 10 minutes, it's still interrupted. But uninterrupted right choice is the method for ignorance's removal. So then one's wisdom in the final stage is sevenfold. One experiences the end of one. Desire to know anything more. Well, why would we not want to know anything more? It isn't that we don't want to know. It's that, like I just said, we're not chasing knowledge. We're allowing the knowledge to find us as it's meant to, and trusting that what we're supposed to know is going to find us and we're going to know it. It's going to happen. So this desire to know, this need to know, I have to know, I need more of this, I want more of this, the vairagya, right, goes away. Desire to stay away from anything. So this is aversion, and aversion goes right along with the kleshas, right? It is this dvesha, this avoiding bad situations. Think about why we avoid things, though. Usually, most of the time, it's because we have a past impression of something similar, never same, of something similar that's happened before. And so our instinct goes, this is the same, don't do that, don't do that. Now, we talked about this a little bit last week, right? The difference between the intuitive knowing and snap judgments, right? These are really different. If you're listening to your gut, if you're listening to what you know, you're going to do the right thing. That's the truth. You just are. Yet, this desire, right, to stay away from anything, weirdly, we do. We have this need to feel as if we know what's going to happen next, to feel as if, because we've been in a situation that was similar, I know how this is going to end. I know how this is going to go. But you don't. So when you settle in to not needing to stay away from anything, when you stop avoiding and trust your intuitive space, you know exactly where you're supposed to be and where you're not supposed to be, and what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. We all get that feeling in our bellies. We do. We all get that feeling in our guts. And we know it when it happens, and we often don't listen to it. And that part to me is the most interesting piece, is that why? Why don't we always listen to that voice? I mean, I trust my intuition 100%, and I still don't always listen to it. I'll find myself in certain situations actually talking back to it like a child that's fighting with a parent. Truly. Thinking, in my intuitive nature and my mind going, I know what I'm supposed to do here. I know what's right for me, what's good for me, but I think I'll do this instead. I mean, as a yogi, when you find this heightened awareness, you know when you're not behaving yogically. You know when you're making choices that are not good for you. So this is essentially saying, trust your intuitive space, and you won't have to avoid anything. You'll treat every situation as if it's absolutely brand new, because it is. You're never in the same situation twice. Never. You're not physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually the same from moment to moment, let alone from day to day. And I think that's one of the trickiest parts, because we get so habitual and so routined, right? I want to do the same things every day because that makes me feel comfortable and safe. But where's the presence? Where's the newness? You can't have newness in a space of same every day, same, right? The same has to be you just surrendering into the oneness and throwing your hands up and saying, I trust it. I trust it. So, 1, desire to know anything more. 2, desire to stay away from anything. 3, desire to gain anything new. So, this is a really good time to be chatting this one out. I know that retail therapy is a real thing. It is. And right now, the only way that we can really shop for things is online, right? Or the hoarding at the grocery store, which I talked about every week, so I'll let that go for now. But it's really important to pay attention to what and why. You know what I mean? I think when we buy anything, we have to ask, do I need this? And why am I actually buying this one? What is the inherent desire? Where is it coming from that I need this thing right now to add to all of my other things? The idea is that from a true yogic perspective, you begin to trust that you have everything that you need, and that you will no longer be chasing desires for that new mat, or that new Lulu outfit, or that new car, or that new house, we all do it. And sadly, we probably do it every single day of our lives. Again, the observed and the observer, right? We talk about this every single week. You're not going to change in a moment. These are instincts that are built into us. They're karmic. They're real. And it's not, those aren't patterns you can change in 2 seconds. We have to begin to slowly begin to change our patterning. And if you know that to make yourself feel better, you purchase more of something, maybe that's a really great realization. And it's that one thing that you decide not to purchase that 1 week, or that 1 month, or that 1 day, right? I feel that it's not just about keeping up with the Joneses, right? Because I think that's part of it too. But it's more about, it's fear. It's, if I don't have this thing, I won't be able to do this other thing as well as everyone else, right? Or if I don't do this thing or have this thing, I won't be viewed as I want to be viewed. Think about all of that though. I mean, you guys, the hope really is that we get to a point in our lives where we do not give a shit what anyone thinks about us. If someone loves you for you, they are going to share space with you, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be balanced, and it's going to make sense. And if someone does not take you for you in all that you are, all of your beauty and all of your ugliness, then it is already not working, right? I mean, sharing space, sharing real space, intimate space, loving space with people. This takes a lot of trust, and it takes a lot of surrender and compromise, but it is the most beautiful thing that we can ever do. So, letting go of outside impression and just living in the truth of self and knowing that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've been teaching yoga now for 30 years, and I am an acquired taste without question. And some love me and some hate me. You know, Mati would say the same thing. And there's nothing we can do about that. It just is what it is. And those that love me, I will love back. You know, that again, I pull in that, our sutra, hopefully we'll get to it at some point, that says disregard the wicked. If someone's mean to you, don't fight back. Just know that it's gonna go the way it's supposed to go. It doesn't have to have conflict or confrontation. And we desire that too, right? We desire that. I want to know why. I have to hang on to this until the bitter end, until it's so ugly that we don't remember the good, right? Which is that's not great, you know. Okay, 4, desire to do anything. Oh, that works now. No, that's not what it means. Okay, so this is not about you being tamasic and lazy and lying around on the couch, right? This is about letting go of the need to do rather than to simply be. Think about that. There's a really big difference between doing and being. And that doing is often muscling for something that we, 1, don't need, or 2, are not ready for, or 3, is just full of expectation. Yeah, I mean, it's not saying, go, don't do anything, just sit in on your couch and be lazy. It's saying, live in your moments. Again, everything comes down to presence. Every single sutra, every single moment in the philosophy of this practice comes down to being present. It says, just be where you are in the moment that you're in. Because in that moment, imagine how much you can learn. Imagine how much you can see. Imagine how much deeper you can feel. It's huge. So, again, 1, desire to know anything more. 2, desire to stay away from anything. 3, desire to gain anything new. 4, desire to do anything. So we're losing these desires. 5, sorrow. So sorrow goes away. This one's very hard, right? But think about why. Sadness is about what? It's about attachment, right? And I don't think that we'll leave our lifetime without attachment. I can't imagine not being attached to my children and my mom, my husband. So I feel that there are some attachments that, maybe in this lifetime we don't leave without. But the idea is that if we're being truly present, if we're awake in our moments as they are, that we're feeling those spaces from a calm, clear, open perspective. So we are no longer pushed and pulled by these extreme emotions that you and I feel all the time, right? I mean, it doesn't just say sadness, it says sorrow. So we think about grief, right? Think about losing someone that we love and how deeply that affects us. But the truth is, it's affecting us, right? That person, that soul has moved on and is somewhere else. And where, I don't know. But I know that I feel the people that I've lost and that they don't feel that sadness. The sadness is something that when I feel it, I know I'm choosing, even if it doesn't feel like a choice. And it's something that is mine in that moment. This idea is that we lose sorrow because there is no good or bad, happy or sad. There's just this beautiful state of calm, of willingness to be at peace. And yet you're still in the world. And it doesn't mean that you don't feel the world, but you feel the world as one rather than as I, mine, me, that individual grasping onto something, whether that's joy or sorrow. 6 is fear. So I talk about this a lot, and so much comes from fear. Ego comes from fear. Most of the kleshas, the obstacles, stem from this one trunk of fear. Think about that though. I mean, with fear, usually, most of the time, we're fearful about what's going to happen, right? So that's future. Or we're fearful because, again, we feel like we've experienced this before and I'm afraid I know it's going to happen again. That's past. Now the question becomes, does fear actually exist in a present moment? Right? In a present moment, in a fraction of a second, is there fear? If fear mainly is behind us and in front of us, does fear happen in a present moment? And the sutras would say no. They say that when you're in this place of calm and peace, there is no fear. There's no worry. There's no sorrow. And 7 is delusion. Delusion is this illusion, right, that we create is Maya. And in the Maya, we create a lot of delusion. And this goes back to 24, 25, etc. We create the environment that we see. We see it through our filter. We see it through our eyes. And it's got to filter through all our baggage before we actually see what we see. And a lot of times, that is absolutely delusional, right? And that, you guys, that happens to everyone. It doesn't make us bad. It doesn't make us terrible people. It just means you're not seeing you. You're not seeing you truly as you. And I think that's really difficult. To be able to look in the mirror every day and be grateful and blessed and feel like you're so beautiful and so extraordinary, because we are. And yet, often, that moment or moments come with judgment and criticism rather than truth. And then think about how these things spin in this delusion that we create, right? This one moment that starts our day then begins, well, I'm not good enough. And so the whole day, everything that we're doing, Everything that we do throughout that entire day becomes colored by this delusion, by this untruth, right? We people, not everyone, but people create whole scenarios in their lives, lies essentially, that they believe and live by. And there's no truth in it. Just because maybe it was something that they were taught. Maybe it was something that they acquired because of trauma, whatever it may be. The idea is that in a place of absolute peace, we lose all of this garbage so that we can start to see self as self, right? I live as best I can in my authentic self. Would I say my sight is always clean? Absolutely not. And it would be a delusion for me to say that it was. It would be an Yeah, so he says a lot about this one, and you know, like the letting go of all of these things being very difficult, and we actually grab hold and kind of fight with the letting go because it's more comfortable to be in the places that we understand. It's more comfortable to be in the places of delusion or fear or doubt or sorrow. Or to be in that space of wanting. It's hard to let go of our instinctive built-in patterns. It says, the fifth plane is actually an after effect of that understanding. Completely free of impressions, it is liberated. Because it had that tinge of ego, it acted as it wanted. Once that is separated, it just becomes a humble, simple mind, completely free of impressions. I mean, that's a really lovely thought. And again, I think we have to take it brick by brick because it's too hard to take it all. There's no way that we can decide today that our mind is going to be completely clear and clean tomorrow. It's impossible. But we can say in this one situation, in this one circumstance, I'm going to clear out all of my garbage, all of my aversion, all of my fear, my sorrow, my delusion, all of my wanting. You know, maybe the wanting is, I want a different reaction from this person. Why are they not giving me what I want? Right? If I say this to you, you're supposed to say something back. You're supposed to give me what I want. We're not responsible for that person. We're only responsible for us. Says, even if you practice yoga for 8,000 years, you're not going to reach the light. By this, he means external yoga. Reading books, learning all the scriptures by heart, going on pilgrimages, that is all baya, or external practice. Some people waste thousands of years in such effort. If we only look within, we will see the light, as if we were seeing our own image in a mirror. All religions say we're not going to get it from the outside. Turn in, look within, know yourself. But what if myself is really ugly? What if myself is really screwed up from trauma? So that's not you. That's a piece of you that's created your story. And those pieces that you need will stay and create this beautiful, strong, extraordinary, amazing soul. Your trauma is not you. Your sadness is not you. Your joy is not you. We look within and we see that authentic self that wants to be humble, that wants to be useful, dharmic in the world, that wants to be extraordinary and independent and awake. But we cannot do this without doing the work. Uninterrupted discriminative discernment. There's one. Another one. Constant effort towards steadiness of mind. Another one. Pain that has not yet come is avoidable. And it's all this process of get rid of the baggage that you hold. You have to see it first, get rid of it, so that we can move into something more authentically beautiful, clearer, cleaner. Yeah. All right, let's shuffle the deck. Oh, I love this one. Do I say that every time? Probably. Okay, this is book 1, Samadhi Pada. So the Samadhi Pada is the book on contemplation, and it's not siddhis, it's not accomplishments like book 3. This is where it's saying, jump in, allow these concepts, these initial concepts in, so that by the time we get to book 3, you've wrapped your head around at least the initial pieces of it, right? Kshina vritti abhijatasya iva manergrahitri grahana grayeshu tajta tarajanata samapatihi. So just as the naturally pure crystal assumes shapes and colors of objects placed near it, so the yogi's mind, with its totally weakened modifications, not gone, totally weakened modifications, becomes clear and balanced and attains the state devoid of differentiation between knower, knowable, and knowledge. This culmination of meditation is Samadhi. So, think about like a pure crystal or a diamond with all of its facets, right? All of its beautiful cuts, and when you hold it up to light or you hold it up in the world, it reflects everything that's around it. But each one of those little carvings, each one of those facets, a different mirror in truly completely different reflection. This is the idea, right? Just as the naturally pure crystal assumes the shapes and colors of the objects placed near it, so the yogi's mind, with its totally weakened modifications, not gone. I'm still modifying, even if it's positive. Maybe I'm modifying my negative patternings to positive, but I'm still modifying my mind. So, with its totally weakened modifications, becomes clear and balanced, and attains the state devoid of differentiation between knower, knowable, and knowledge. Who is the knower? You are. What is the knowable? Everything. Everything. What is the knowledge? It's what you already have inside of you. And it's those things that you have and those things that you have not discovered yet, right? It's the knowledge that's in there that you haven't, the environment hasn't been perfect yet for you to know what you're supposed to know. But it's there. So becomes clear and balanced and attains the state devoid of differentiation between knower, me, knowable, everything, and knowledge. This culmination of meditation is Samadhi. So think about this crystal or this diamond that you hold up and all of these reflections so pure and so clean. And you see all of the different things and all of the different pieces, but you're seeing them as they are. And at this point, there is no longer the separation between this is what my thinking mind thinks, and this is what my soul's mind thinks, and this is what my body feels, and this is what my mind feels. There's no separation at all, not only in the space of self, but in the space of understanding, right? This is saying you can hold up that reflection and see all that you're supposed to see, know all that you're supposed to know about that one thing without any modifications, without any judgment, right? Snap or not, instinct or not, clean and clear. The mind of the yogi, with its totally weakened modifications, means that the yogi has cultivated one thought form at the cost of all others. This is dharana. This is that one-pointedness, that doorway. When you cultivate one alone, all the other impressions become weaker and finer. So I talk about this a lot, but the brain is actually capable of doing how many things at one time? One. Right? And that's the whole point, is that do the one thing you're doing and do it with all of you, right? Do it with all of you, without the separating of I'm doing this thing, but my attention is over here. Or I'm doing this thing, but I'm thinking about this other thing. I'm supposed to be doing this thing, and yet I'm doing something different, right? The idea is that so it's working here's a who, truly. If we grab hold of the one thing, let's say we find this one thing, right? This dharana we've chosen, the doorway. It's amazing. And now my whole mind is focused in on this one thing. But that's where the crystal sits, right? It's not outside of the doorway, it's inside. So that on the inside of that one thing, you see everything you're supposed to see, feel, know about that one thing. Complete knowledge of this one thing. It's pretty extraordinary. It's an amazing idea, right? And I don't think that's at all impossible. I think that's something that is quite tangible and doable if we truly put all of our attention in the one thing we're concentrating on, in that one focus of concentration. Right? Okay. Okay. So we did this one last. I always turn to the same ones, and my book isn't really worn out. This is not my original sutra book, so I'm not sure why we always go to the same ones. But I'm going to skip it because 2 weeks in a row I keep popping open to the same sutras. Okay, here we go. So, okay. So, this is about asana. This is one of 2 sutras that talk about asana. And it really doesn't even talk about asana. So, book 2, Sadhanapada, the portion on practice, and it's 46. Sthirya Sukham Asana. There it is. Sthirya, steady. Sukham, comfortable. Asana, posture. Right? Asana is a steady, comfortable posture. Then he goes on to say, he, she, whatever. Asana means the posture that brings comfort and steadiness. Any pose that brings this comfort and steadiness is an asana. If you can achieve one pose, that is enough. So there's this story. It's an Ashtanga story about how you go into the shala and you have to be given permission to be in the shala in the first place, and you wait outside and you wait outside and you finally get into the shala and you get given permission to practice with then Patabi, now Sharat, and you've waited outside for weeks. And now you finally get to go inside you get to go inside and be part of the practice, right? And you get inside and you start in your first Samasthiti in your first Tadasana, and you feel the tap on your shoulder to stop, which means all you've been given permission to do is Tadasana for 2.5 hours, or you can do Tadasana 5-10 minutes, go home. Then you come back the next day and you start your practice in Samasthiti Tadasana. You get a tap on the back. Again, only Tadasana. You can, for as long as you want, go home. Next day, Tadasana. Next day, Tadasana. 3 weeks, Tadasana. Why? Because it wasn't comfortable and it wasn't steady. And until it became comfortable and steady, until it became focused without so much chitta-vritti, so much busy, so much spinning, so much expectation, so much garbage, so much anxiety, whatever it may be, until it was comfortable and steady, right? There was no permission to move forward. Now, granted, that permission's coming from someone else, but the point is, in the practice, we need to be doing that for ourselves. Every single posture we take in our lives, sitting at home, walking down the street, the way we carry ourselves in the world, this is all asana. And it's meant to be this comfortable, steady space that says, honor your own skin, honor this house, know that it is yours. And in those moments of discomfort, find comfort. In those moments of challenge, find steadiness. Because you can, and it's very possible, but it may take a minute. It may take 3 weeks. It may take 20 years, but it will happen. The postures find us when they're supposed to, right? And if you chase a posture, if we're talking about true asana, if you chase a posture or desire a posture, I promise you, it's going to stay away from you on purpose. You will not be able to get that space. It's the most interesting thing to see over and over and over again as a teacher, that when a student is trying too hard to get a handstand or a bhikasana or whatever, that posture will create constant obstacles so that you cannot find it. It's about desire, it's about intention, it's about expectation. And think about that in your life. When you want something too badly, how likely are you to actually get it? Right? I mean, probably not very likely. And then when you get it, I mean, that's the whole thing too. If you get it, if you accidentally, in the mix of all of this expectation, find your handstand, what happens next? Because the intention wasn't clear, it wasn't without expectation or desire, what happens? Now you want it even more. And then again, it runs away from you. Steady, comfortable seat. Be in your own skin, in the world, always. So that you can feel that strength and capability, right? It's a beautiful lesson. It truly is. It says quite a little bit about this, but it's talking about nauli and mudras and Uddiyana bandhas. Saying, in the world, don't let your bandhas go. Mula bandha should be engaged right now. Uddiyana bandha right now. All of a sudden, everybody gets a little taller. No, really though, I mean, this internal support is meant to be happening always. Nauli every morning, right? That's stomach churning. That's allowing the kriya, the cleansing to happen so that you release the prior day, so that the body's not living in the past, right? Think about all that the body has to deal with and take on in a day, and how much of that lingers and comes into the next day with you until asana practice, until you're able to clear it out, clean it out, and hopefully it goes. But the best way to kick that off is with nauli in the morning, first thing in the morning. You do your stomach churning. And if you don't know nauli, nauli is in Light on Yoga. You can Google it as well. You'll see crazy stuff. My suggestion is, if you're going to do nauli, just start with the up and in. Don't start churning. Just up and in. Get that piece first. It's all about cleaning though. It's all about clearing and starting fresh and starting new and feeling present and awake and aware in the day, in the skin that you're in. Okay, let's shuffle. This is book 242. Santosha Anutamaha Sukha Lavaha. By contentment, supreme joy is gained. I've been talking a lot about Santosha the last few days because Santosha, contentment, really is absolute acceptance. It's just it's not satisfaction, it's not happiness, it's not like or dislike, it's so present and accepting the moment that you're in without needing to change it or shift it. And knowing that that moment that you're in is the moment you're supposed to be in. And so can you be in it fully? Whatever it looks like, whatever that may mean, can you truly be in it? It's interesting when we do Santosha in the 500-hour teacher training, you spend a week in this space deciding whether you, not deciding, but really observing whether you are or are not content in your life as it is. And are you being present in those moments to pay attention to whether you are or are not? I mean, sometimes I think that we don't even ask that question. We're just going through the motions. We're just going through the motions of the day and we're not even asking, am I content right now? Am I presently accepting of this moment? Or am I trying to push or pull something into a space it doesn't fit into or doesn't belong in? Or am I trying to steer? Or does this have a ton of expectation or duality on it? It's a great question to constantly ask. It's a good thing to check in with. Am I content? Am I content in this moment? And what does that actually mean? Right? Am I calm? Am I at peace? Am I free of feeling the need to push or pull it around? It's a really good check-in. Santosha is one of my favorites, right? Because it just says, be where you are, as you are, and know that that's okay, right? Know that it's okay. Okay. I just opened back to our naturally pure crystal. It's hard not to accidentally repeat sutras. We've done this one as well. It's weird, right? Here's a good one. I think energetically too, it's very possible. I don't believe in randomness, so it's very possible that we're opening up to the same ones because of the universal energy that's happening right now. I want to say this the right way. It's weirdly the same from day to day right now because there is a lot of fear and there is a lot of hesitation and worry and wonder. I do feel like there's becoming a little more acceptance and acclimating happening. So I think that's a really, really good thing. Because this is where we are. What are you going to do? This is where we are. Okay, Book 1, Samadhi Pada, Sutra 27. Tasya Vachakaha Pranavaha Om. The word expressive of Ishvara is the mystic sound Om. So A-U-M, A, waking state, U, dream state, M, dreamless sleep state. And when we Om, we're honoring all three states of our own consciousness. We're honoring in that waking state our present self. In this present tangible lifetime, in the U, the dream state, we're honoring that past self or selves and all of the karma that we've traveled through and all the knowledge that's come from that karma. And then in the dreamless sleep state, we're honoring that idea of future self, of leaving this cleaner, clearer picture for whatever, whomever we may be the next time round. There's so much in this idea of Om. It's so big that to even really put a word on it is very strange. Because it's the all-encompassing. It's about us without separation in any way. It's about us and our oneness without separation in any way. It's about unshakable faith. It's about humanity. It's about the deepest love, unconditional love. It's about absolute acceptance. It's about all of it. When you look at every spirituality that has a word so close to this, like Amen or Amin. So here we have learned the greatest of the basic seed word, Om. No other name can be more suitable than this for the supreme knowledge and having a way to just express that beauty and that sameness, that oneness. The Om says, I love you and you love me and we're the same and we can be together in space even if you're far away, and we can have respect and honor for a practice that is thousands of years old. I don't need to know you to do that. And even bigger than that, that beyond the practice into the spiritual depth of faith and belief systems, same, and that we all arrive to a place of understanding and oneness. It's really lovely. So we're gonna Om. Let's sit up nice and tall, bellies lifted, hearts open. And allow the eyes to sweetly, softly close. And take a moment to lift your heart space. And feel as if from this anahata, because this is the unstruck space and Om is the unstruck sound, it's where it lives. So from this space, think of imagining just these wings of Om as you Om this morning. And this just big open space that you occupy. And as we do this all together, wherever you are, that same, that one, that love, that connection, that humanity, that empathy, that compassion, all of it. All right, let's Om 3 times. Inhale. Shanti. So 28, Book 1, Sutra 28, Tat Japaha Tat Artha Bhavanam. To repeat it with reflection upon its meaning is an aid. It is super helpful. If you have a hard time getting into meditation, just do some rolling Oms. Calms the mind, lets you into your heart space. So beautiful. And like any mantra that has great sacred meaning, it's going to strike something, right? It's going to strike that chord that has value, that place, that just has such sweetness in it. There's so many ways to define all of the concepts of the practice. And you have to remember that because there are so many ways, that means that you get to honor the way that makes the most sense for you. Maybe that is when you Om to think of it as Amen. Maybe it is when you Om to think of it as this energy field, this honoring of the 3 states of consciousness, and more about science and vibration than anything else. It doesn't matter what definition you choose, because the idea is that it all ends up in the same space, and that we all end up in this beautiful breath together, which is what we're doing right now. I mean, honestly, there is less separation right now, probably worldwide, than there has been in a very, very, very long time. It's one of the first times the world as a whole has been in the same situation. So Om strikes all of us, for sure. We have time to do maybe one more. Again, a repeat. Oh, this might be a little too much. This is about Brahmataria. Dun dun dun. Okay, so let's talk about Brahmacharya first, because, and do we even have time? Because Brahmacharya is this deeply misunderstood concept, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just give you a little nugget, and we'll continue the conversation next week. Somebody remind me, because I'll forget. Things don't stick in my head, they just come and go. Brahmacharya, right, means old school definition, celibacy. It means to preserve the ojas, that sexual energy, which is our strongest energy. It's the strongest energy that we carry, because we are animals, and as animals we feel procreation, lineage, all of this is just, built into our instincts. So this ojas, this strong, very moving sexual energy, is meant to be preserved, so that we can utilize that energy, so that we can actually feel and tap into its strength and use it to be more productive in the world, use it to be more efficient in the things that we're actually doing for the anatomical body, as well as in the world, in the tasks that we undertake. So, but this is a very male, old school definition. My favorite definition comes from Donna Farhi's Body, Mind, and Spirit. And she speaks to it as merging with your one, which I really love that. And I think that refers to not only your person, your soulmate, the person that you choose, because this energy is so sacred, because this is the strongest energy that we carry, and the most personal. It is not meant to be given away frivolously, carelessly. And I think most people have an understanding of what it feels like when you do that, when we do that. When you give that sacred energy to someone who does not deserve it, and who is not treating you with care and love, who is not honoring that sacredness. It does not feel good. And the idea is that it really does deplete your soul and the level of energy with which you can then walk into the world. And I think that's very understandable as well. When we have a bad, intimate interaction with someone, we don't feel right. We don't feel good. Soulfully, we don't feel good. And this leads to all kinds of things, right? Maybe depression, maybe guilt, whatever it may be. None of that is serving our greater purpose. So the idea is to merge with your one, to find the one, right? And, we're constantly changing. Love is constantly changing. But to know that if you choose to give that away, that it's given in a place of balance, and in a place of care, and in a place of just sacred sweetness. Truly, it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Intimacy with someone who truly loves and cares for you. There is so much strength and evenness in it. So, and she also means merging with your one, because it is our most primal sacred energy. It's also about merging with this sameness, this idea of bhavanam, of purpose, why I'm here and what I'm meant to do. Not everyone is meant to have children. And it's really important to pay attention to that. That doesn't mean that you lack sacred energy, just the opposite. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It means that your job, your bhavanam, your purpose is to be mother, teacher, guide to others. And maybe that's as a school teacher, maybe that's as a yoga teacher, maybe that's whatever. Maybe that's as a musician, whatever it may be, right? We all carry this energy, all of us. And the sacredness of that energy is key. I do next week want to continue this a little because I want to talk about the shadow side of Brahmacharya and what can happen if this vow is taken carelessly, or what happens and how do we heal it when there's great damage in this space because of trauma. I appreciate you. I know that our streams have been a little interesting lately just because every single human is on the internet right now. So yeah, Vimeo is usually our cleanest stream. So you can always just follow us on Vimeo. This one did not go to IG this morning, but hopefully you guys were able to see what you needed to see on Facebook. All right, let's take one Om together to finish out. Bellies lifted, hearts open, eyes closed. Let's take a big Om, one together. Inhale. Bring hands to Namaste, lift your heart. Walk in your Om today. Walk in the bigness that is you, unstruck, without damage. Namaste. Shanti. This is going to find its end. And hopefully that's going to mean that we're all going to be able to be in the room together. I've had multiple requests to continue sutras. I will do that. I'm going to continue them virtually. And it's going to be on Tuesday morning at the same time. Yeah. And yeah, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Maybe we'll actually start at the beginning. All right. Shanti, enjoy your day, you guys.